is going out. It's not as bright as it was before. Well, we'll have to just put up with it. Had a busy, stressful, honestly, few weeks. But that's over now. And I'm back. So I had a tip video that I was going to go over now that I've made up my last Facts and Frauds video. Also, while on the subject of Facts and Frauds, my next Facts and Frauds video is going to be Sherlock Holmes as seen in literature. I also want to do Sherlock Holmes as seen in like classic television or movies, and then Sherlock Holmes modern interpretations. So I'll do like 3 different videos all dedicated to Sherlock Holmes, and then we'll move into other deductionists throughout different forms of media. So that's just a preview as to what's coming up. Facts and Frauds take forever to make those videos. Anyway, so for today's tip video is what to deduce besides individual people. I see this a lot where people that I talk to have made the mistake of looking just at a person and trying to make deductions about the person and the present, which is fine. You need to make deductions about the person, but they don't know where to look for other information. So that's kind of what I wanted to get to in this tip video. So the first thing, of course, is context. If you see a certain set of signals in a hardware store, it could mean a totally different thing. The same set of signals might mean a totally different thing in a drugstore or a supermarket, whatever the case may be. So pay attention to the context of the situation you're in. What is this person looking for? Does he look like he's in a hurry? Does he look like he knows what he's doing? Does he look confused? Not just at the person, but from their surroundings, you can determine a lot about the situation you're in. Moving on from that, we have rooms and house. There are a lot of deductions that I make about a person before I even meet them, based on me walking up to the door, or once I'm inside, I can get a chance to see the room that they're in. A good way to practice making deductions about rooms, specifically, would be just go on to the Reddit site. They have tons of pictures of rooms that you can make deductions about. As for making deductions about houses, literally between the sidewalk and the front door, I can determine if they use the front door or the back door. I can determine which pathways they use. I can determine if the house is lived in. I can determine when the last time they were home was. There's a lot you can learn about them just from point A to point B. So those are things that you want to keep an eye out for. Is there a gas meter? Is there a dish for cable? Are there spider webs in the door? If there are spider webs in the door, are they connected to the door frame, or are they just in the door frame? All of these things mean different things. After that, you can determine things about the person based on their workspace. For example, is the workspace clean? Is it efficient? Is it disorganized? All of these things will tell you about who is working at the time. Where I work is a great example of this. I can tell 9 times out of 10 who was working the night before I came in based on the condition of the bar when I get in. Just because I realize what their personalities are like. This morning was a good example of that, but I'm not going to go into detail. Their car. You can make a lot of interesting deductions about a person based on their car. I've done studies about car color and things like that before, but for the sake of this video, I'm talking more about scratches in the car, how new the car looks, how well maintained it looks, license plate, bumper stickers, looking for those kind of things to determine interests about the person, to determine where they're from, how far they've traveled. You can determine wealth easily by the car, how much they maintain it, things like that. I'm not particularly versed in this yet, but I know you can tell the internal maintenance of the vehicle as well, just based on the muffler sound. Or sometimes if you hear a motor vehicle going by and there's like a loud squealing, that means that their fan belt is loose. Hasn't been tightened in a while, it's an old belt. So you can determine things based on how smooth it sounds, how well running it is. Granted, you probably need to be a mechanic to understand some of this. I spent an entire year or two when I was younger fixing up a car. So I know a fair amount of mechanical information, mechanical knowledge that helps me in those areas. So I do have a basic knowledge base that I can use in that area. How you can build that up is just maintenance of your own vehicle. If you have a vehicle, or if your family has a vehicle, whatever the case may be, if you take the time to maintain it the way that's designed to be maintained, not taking it to the mechanic all the time, you can learn a lot about the vehicle yourself. And then finally, there's pets and children. I've heard some very awesome stories about people making deductions about the family situation based on the child's care and upkeep. I've multiple times been able to determine things about the owner of a pet by looking at their grounds where they keep their pet, or the pet that they have. Oftentimes, the type of pet they have says something about the personality of the person in question. Then there's the maintenance and the welfare of the care of the pet. So these are all other areas that I would strongly suggest anyone who's trying to master deduction or learn deduction, that they pay attention to these other things, these other areas. There's other things as well, like phones, phone cases, phone screens, desktops, laptops. All of these things are all... Man, that light's going out fast. These are things that you can make deductions about. And they can help you build a more complete portrait of the person that you are making deductions about. With that being said, I think I'm done for today. That covers the information that I wanted to talk about. I have an observation practice video that I need to make coming up soon. But I think that's about it for now. So, thank you for watching, and have a good day.